Alright everybody, today, obviously, with the title of the video, we are looking at how to handle the Exemplar boss. Now, before I go too much further, let's talk about the Exemplar. For the most part, the Exemplar is going to be summoning friends helping the whole time. However, the very first round, he's obviously going to have the altar with him, and he's going to get those 2 immediate upgrades. Those are pretty much undeniable. Those are just going to happen. So let's talk about what the Exemplar does. It's practically massive damage, massive DOT. If he consumes somebody, he can do riposte and stuff like that, right? The Exemplar, you have to do it. Has a lot of HP, not 167. This is a sturdy Exemplar. So usually your Exemplar will have a little less HP, which is great. Now, there's a couple of strategies you can do, and I'll let this play so you can see some of the skills as we go throughout. There's a couple of strategies. As you'll see, I'm going with the blind strategy. As you can see right there, Prelude misses. You're going to need some probably DOT and vulnerability tokens, which I have the Jester who can do vulnerability / more blind. I'm going to try my best to keep up DOT / blind the whole time. Great items for this are obviously the ones that can blind and stuff that can remove either blights or vulnerability tokens. I do believe though you should just heavily go into the mischance items, probably have about 4 of them, and try to take this guy down in 4 turns. Now, I do believe this party actually works rather well for the boss, and I'll say why. So we have self heals on the Hellion, which will be important. We have heals on the Plague Doctor, you can take people off Death's Door. We have a Man-at-Arm that can obviously focus fire. A Leper, I think, is an okay answer, since the Leper can ask people to attack him and self heal. I do believe, though, the Man-at-Arms is obviously just superior A in the game, and B for this boss, because his bellow can remove riposte tokens. So if you're not going to kill the thing in the back the whole time, I do think you need the Man-at-Arms to remove riposte, because it's going to hit entirely too hard with riposte or take up too many of your blind tokens with riposte. Another way you can reduce the damage of the Exemplar, and I don't have that comp here, but I may do in the future, is that you will use a occultist or other people who can do decreased damage skills onto the Exemplar. So if you want to do reduced damage and go heavy damage, or take care of the enemies so it can never get a riposte and stronger attacks, that's certainly a way to do it. Whatever you do with the Exemplar though, the smoke bombs are what I'm talking about. I forgot the name for a second. So get like 2 to 3 characters that have smoke bombs on, and maybe 1 character with holy waters, or maybe with just like healing salves, just to get people off Death's Door, if you're going to do a pure damage strat. Once you start doing the damage and the boss starts healing, it does become a race. My race is a little harder because, like I said, the amount of HP the boss got from sturdy. However, it's not the end of the world. We can still work through it. All I am going to say is, if you're going to pick a strategy like I have in this video where you're going to race the damage, you just can't really focus on any of the ads that are summoned. Because once you start focusing on few of the ads that are summoned, you're going to divert damage, and if you don't kill the ad and it gets eaten, you've essentially lost about a turn and a half of damage that wasn't going to the Exemplar, and it's just going to brutalize you. I do recommend obviously having someone with massive HP who can take that. That's why I said the Man-at-Arms and Leper are both great choices in this scenario, because they can certainly take a pounding and they can force people to attack them. So the Hellion could be a Highwayman. It wouldn't be bad. It would be still some pretty decent damage, get some riposte in. I just like the Hellion because she can heal herself and also work through protection tokens. Now I'm going to pause the video and talk about my other party that I would theorize would work pretty well. It would have the Man-at-Arms again, and maybe like a Highwayman / Hellion, whatever your preferred damage dealer is. It would be 3rd position Occultist, and 4th position you could either do Plague Doctor or Runaway. I think the Runaway wouldn't be a bad choice. Actually, I would pick the Runaway in that scenario. So I would have the Runaway, Highwayman. It would be Highwayman, Man-at-Arms, Occultist, Runaway. Why would that party work? Highwayman damage, Man-at-Arms to either protect or cause people to attack them. Boom, we got these 2 frontliners already picked out. The Occultist is another form of heals, but with smoke bombs and the decreased damage, if one of those 2 doesn't work, you at least have one of them, right? So you've either reduced damage coming out or you have smoke bombs. The Runaway has her own smoke screen, So she could also serve as a double, and then she could obviously offer up DOT in between turns. So she could smoke screen, flame attack, a smoke bomb, smoke screen, flame attack, smoke. So I mean, she can always, and since you have the occultist who can heal and bleed, you could possibly also do the healing ability on the runaway, which is why I'd also prefer a Hellion with Ravager for the runaway, because she can self-bleed herself, which would allow an opportunity to heal before you need someone else like the occultist to bleed somebody. So I think that would work very well. Like I said, in that you could have a leper if you want. I just think Man-at-Arms are generically better in the game. You don't have to also waste points unlocking them at that point. But the occultist could be very good, as I said. You could decrease damage for 2 turns, and then you could set up whatever you need with the other skill. You could make them vulnerable for more damage for your Highwayman or Hellion to do more damage. And like I said, your runaway would offer that DOT to keep up with the regen of said monster. So I do think that strategy would work as well. 2 forms of healing, lots of hero missing and reducing of damage, and you would still have Bellow to reduce the riposte damage coming in. So I do believe that would be a valid strategy to do some pretty good damage to this boss. Now also the perk of the Highwayman is obviously if you don't Howling's End, you don't get winded. So Highwayman's obviously very good there. You could do take aim and repose for some criticals, whatever you want. There's a bunch of things that could work out very well. You are going to have obviously unfortunate scenarios where your blind tokens are not going to work. I get hit twice, but then I dodge twice. They do average out to 50%. But as you see, he does summon that extra guy later, and I'm not going to focus because the amount of HP I would have to go through and that dodge token really wouldn't be worth it. So all I try to do is keep up the blind tokens, which I only had, I think, 2 of. I don't think I had more than 2 smoke bombs. And my relationships also weren't very helpful in this fight at certain points. But the combo tokens keep my Man-at-Arms up. He's also doing reduced damage because of the trinkets I gave him. I didn't have the best trinkets, so he is doing minus 50% damage. But he also got a massive amount of HP. So like I said, I can't really complain too hard. The DOT from the Plague Doctor is keeping at least the health gain neutralized. Therefore, anything we're really doing is just straight up damage. The commune is really brutal. That does just absolutely hurt later, but there's not much I can do about it. I would have to pretty much I would have had to throw in about 3 to 5 attacks to do that. So if we skip forward a little bit, oh, that's really forward, okay. So he just consumed. He has riposte back up. Instead of walking into it, I know I do walk into it because I wanted to get lower so I could do the adrenaline. I also got syphilis on the Hellion, who really reduced her HP, which really sucked. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you guys. So this is about the only part of the fight where I get some RNG, in all honesty. And at this point, if this boss wasn't sturdy, I might have, between the syphilis, it sounds funny, between the syphilis and the sturdy, I think I might have had this boss near death's door already. And if I also had one more smoke bomb set, this probably would have been a lot easier. So there's a couple of things that didn't necessarily go my way. So yeah, the boss had like 20 HP out of 167. So I think that would have been maybe a death's door blow already. But I have to work a little harder to get there. So you'll see that. But without sturdy, we probably would have had this boss on death's door. And I might have been able to kill it this turn with only a little bit of RNG that it didn't do a follow-up attack. And as you can see here, I use the items I get from the one well that can obviously heal people, and that's all you need. You just need enough HP to get off death's door. There's a couple of attacks that do some strong blight, but for the most part it's just a raw damage machine, especially when it consumes somebody, which is why the occultist is very good at possibly reducing that damage, while you can also pump into a vulnerable / consistent blind ability. That's my tips for this. We'll fast forward to when I actually kill it. Oh, that's right, I just milk it out near the end. So I do kill this thing near the end here. So, oh yeah, I riposte with the Man-at-Arms, and then I harvest, getting to death's door, survives 1 check. Yeah. So you'll see the end here. So like I said, without the sturdy, this boss would have been well into death's door territory already. So that's the first death's door. I believe it has 50%. So obviously this is a coin flip. Hits, dies. So that, oh no, okay. So it went through 2 death's doors check, not that uncommon, it's a 25% chance. So that's some ways to beat it. Like I said, the other party, we'll say it once again, could be Hellion, Highwayman, Man-at-Arms, Occultist, Runaway. I think that A, that party can get through pretty much most of the game, and B, I do believe that party with upgraded skills would also be able to beat the Exemplar. Essentially, you need someone who can take the damage, make the boss blind, / reduce the boss damage, and then just do some DOT to take the boss down. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you beat the Exemplar.